Hey everybody, so this year we bought the Altra Lone Peak 5s to replace our Solomon X Ultra 3 Gore-Tex shoes, and we've got a pretty good feeling about them. We've put over 100 kilometers on them on the Manterio Trail, at Pinawa, and on the Hunt Lake Trail, and so far they've been behaving really well and we've really enjoyed wearing them. So here's a little bit about what we think about them so far. So here's what we like about the Lone Peak 5s. So they have supple and breathable materials. So all of the materials on the inside of the shoe that are touching your feet are fairly soft, fairly pliant, and very supple and conform to your foot very well. And this leads to a couple of really nice things. The first is that the material around your ankle that rubs on your back tendon and kind of around and underneath your ankle is very pliant, and we've found that it isn't causing as many issues as it does sometimes on stiffer shoes that'll rub on the back of your ankle and cause like a mild tendonitis effect. Also, around the top and sides of our feet, because of how the material's made and what it's made of, is very breathable, and there's been a lot fewer, actually, there have been no cases of blisters so far that we've been using it, and Rosalind's only had one hot spot. And on the Manterio Trail, we were hiking through some 25 to 30 degrees Celsius days without any real problems. We also really like the tread. So the tread's fairly aggressive and has some pretty good spacing between the more aggressive parts of it. So we're finding that we can trust it a lot more, and this is leading to faster climbs and more self-confidence and assurance when we're going across log obstacles or anything else with a slippery surface. We also really like the toe box. So the toe box is built quite wide and gives your feet ample room to kind of spread out and breathe at the front around your toes. So because of how wide the toe box is built, you actually probably don't need as big of a shoe size as you normally get. Both Rosalind and I think our shoes are slightly too large, mine by about a half size and hers by about a full size, because we're used to buying shoes slightly larger so that we don't have as many issues with kicking our toes on the front of the shoe or any heat issues. But because of the design of this shoe, that probably wasn't necessary. The next thing we like is the laces, and that's because the laces stay tied up. A lot of shoes we've had in the past and the boots that I'm currently using come untied 3, 4, 5 times a day, and you're constantly retying them and trying out different things to try to make sure the laces stay tight. With the Lone Peak 5s, we each maybe tied our shoes once or twice throughout the entire Manterio hike, other than when we did them up in the morning, which was phenomenal. It was nice. You put them on, you tie them up how you like them, and then you just leave them for the rest of the day for the most part with no other issues. The shoes are also very lightweight. So the Altra Lone Peak 5 is lighter than the X Ultra 3, and you can feel it. Between the supple materials and the lighter weight of the shoe, it basically feels like you're not really wearing anything. And that's kind of the perfect case for a shoe, because you really don't want to get caught up with worrying about or being able to get distracted by your shoe throughout the course of the day. You just kind of want to put them on, forget about them, and then cruise on to your destination. The last thing is that the shoes dry very quickly. So when we went to Pinawa, we were walking through 5-6 inch deep water, and the shoes were just coming out absolutely full of water, very sloshy. And we decided to give it a try and just left them for 2 or 3 minutes. And by then, most of the water had completely drained out of the footwear to the point where the shoes were basically just wet. So either over the course of the day or overnight, the shoes dry out fairly quickly. If your feet are in them, your body heat's drying them out fairly well. And overnight or in the afternoon, you can pull out the insole and have everything dry out in pieces fairly quickly, especially when the sun's out. I do recommend making sure you're wearing a wicking style of sock, either synthetic or merino wool. Anything you can do to wick the water out faster helps make the shoes dry very, very quickly. So there are a couple of potential drawbacks that are kind of concerning, but we're not really worried about them. The first one is durability. We haven't had any problems with the shoes, but we really feel that because of the suppleness of the material, how everything's designed, we're probably going to run into issues with some of the material cracking or splitting a little sooner than we would have with the X Ultra 3s. It's just not as strong feeling material. But that's also not that big of a deal because it isn't a waterproof shoe, so having leaks and stuff in it doesn't matter as much, and that's kind of why we don't really care about that happening. The other potential drawback is foot support. The shoe is very supple and pliant and doesn't have that many rigid features either along the sides or around the ankle of your foot. So for Rosalind and I, that's fine. We're more than happy to have the pliant material help with some foot soreness and rubbing spots. But for people that are looking for a more supportive shoe, want that ankle support, want a little bit more stiffness in the sides of the shoe, it's just not there. So if that's the kind of thing you're looking for in a shoe, the Altra Lone Peak 5 might not be for you. So there's also something that we're pretty undecided on, and it's kind of the whole shtick of the Altra shoes, which is the zero drop design. We have no idea if it's actually doing anything. Our feet haven't been all that sore while using them, but we also have done a couple hundred kilometers of biking. We're going into our 4th year of backpacking, so maybe we're just getting used to it. Also, the shoe's very well made. It's got really nice padding for your feet. It's very supple and pliant. There's lots of breathability, so there's very low risk of hot spots or anything else that would aggravate soreness in your feet. So the shoe might just be well enough made that it's helping us along anyway, and the zero drop's not doing anything for us at the moment. But as we go on throughout the summer, we will kind of keep track of if any of our recurring stress injuries, like our knee injuries and our tendon issues, are coming up. And if they are, we'll definitely update this. But for now, we're really uncertain if that zero drop design is actually doing anything. But beside that, we love the shoe for basically everything else anyway. One thing I do need to mention, and I kind of touched on already, is that our shoes are too big for us. Mine by about a half size, and Rosalind's by half to a full size too large. So this is 100% on us. We normally buy shoes a little bit too large to help prevent issues with your toes colliding with the front and sides of your shoes during climbing and descending. But we really didn't need to do that for the Altra Lone Peak 5s. The toe box design and basically the whole shoe design is, I don't want to say it's large, but it's built very roomy, and you can basically get the size that you would need for most other things with these shoes. We haven't had any issues with getting shoes that are this large, but they're definitely a little roomy and slide a little bit more than we would like. So the next pair of shoes we get, we're probably going to get the correct size Lone Peak 5s. Our overall impression of the Altra Lone Peak 5s is very high. Honestly, it beats out the Salomon X Ultra 3s in basically every category that we care about. But if you want a shoe that has more ankle and side foot support, is more durable, and is waterproof, this shoe's definitely not for you. The X Ultra 3s are probably perfectly fine as long as they fit your feet for that purposes. But if you're like Roz and I, you want something that's lightweight, very breathable, dries out quickly, and seemingly helps prevent a lot of blisters, these shoes might be right up your alley, and you should definitely give them a try. If you enjoyed this video, or if you thought it was useful, please drop us a comment, hit that like button, or subscribe to our channel. And if you think anybody else would find this useful, please share it. We want to get this out there and try to help as many people as possible. So stay safe out there and have a good week.